Hey guys, today I'm coming back with the newest updates that Sam Altman just released 2 days ago about OpenAI. So there's a lot of things to unpack, but today in this video, we're just going to look through the most two important features that he released. I think the most interesting ones and the most important ones that future developers or people who don't know how to code can use almost every day, and those that will have a huge impact on our work experience will be GPTs. The first one is GPTs, and the second one will be Assistant API. So let's just sort of unpack what each of them are, how you can use them, and what kind of documentation has been newly released on OpenAI Playground and the documentation. So the first one is GPTs. So this one is like, it's like an AI. They also said that they're going to release a AI store by the end of November. So this is going to be like an app store for AI native apps. So that's, for me, that's like really interesting, because if I make my own custom GPT and then upload it onto the AI store, I can also get revenue from that. And Sam Altman said that OpenAI would be sharing part of their revenue for the most interesting or the most used popular custom GPT. So what this one is you can like upload any documents that you want to train your GPT and make it into like a custom chatbot or like a creative writing coach, a tech advisor, etc., etc. And one of the examples that Sam gave in the dev day was a startup coach. So what he did was he uploaded his text file of a speech that he gave to YC startup founders, and he wanted to build like a startup advisor chatbot, a chat custom GPT. So he uploaded the file, and then the GPT immediately absorbed that information, and you can also like prompt it. And all of this is done without any coding. You can just use it doing natural language with text prompts. So yeah, the GPT like absorbed all the information in his speech text, and then it immediately creates a chatbot like that. You can ask like any questions, and then it will act like a startup advisor to a startup founder that is trying to create his, develop his new idea. So that one was really interesting. I'm really looking forward to what the AI store will look like as a developer myself. So that one was really interesting. And the second one that really caught me off guard was the Assistant API. So what this one is, if we go look back at the video that OpenAI released, they gave like a short demo of what we can do with the Assistant API. And there are a couple of new features and functions that have been released as well. The first one is code interpreter. The second one is knowledge retrieval. And the third one is function calling. But let's just sort of go back and see what the assistant can actually do. So if you look at my previous videos, I've been building side projects using LangChain and custom LLM agents to do whatever I wanted to do. Right now, I've been testing like all the codes that have been released and the newest features. And right now, it's like there's a huge difference. So with LangChain, if it took me like 100 lines to build an AI agent, give them custom prompts templates, or like agent executor, blah, 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 all of this is streamlined into a much more tight pack. Like you can do what you previously did with LangChain in like 30 lines of code. So what it does is you can build your custom AI agent with really short lines of code. You don't even need to use code if you don't know how to program. You can just literally build it on a web interface with just like text prompts or just like a few clicks and buttons. So that one was the most interesting. So if you actually go to OpenAI's website, and if you look at the sections here, you can see that there's a newly added section called Assistants. So this sort of lists all the assistants that I've tested out. There's like a bunch of them right now. But if you do build your own assistant in the backend, you can actually test it out, test it in the playground in the front end in OpenAI's website here. So you can like run anything that you want to do. There's also like logs that are being updated here. So they built a new section inside, so you can just like play around and see what it does. But if you go back and see what kind of new functions that they released, the first one is code interpreter. So what this one does is basically it's like if you ask a hard math question to the AI agent, sometimes it will need to like generate code, make the code to calculate the question that you asked. So for example, if you ask like what is 12 divided by 4, then to do that they need to like write a code line to actually calculate that. So code interpreter does that without you having to write the code itself. If you just ask by asking like, oh, what's the answer to 12 divided by 4? Then the code interpreter interprets that text and then creates a code that calculates that question and outputs the result. So for example, here, what they showed in the demo video is that if you upload a airline ticket PDF and a Airbnb reservation PDF, the question that they asked is, oh, I'm going traveling with 4 other friends of mine. Can you calculate how much it costs for one person for this entire trip? Then what the AI agent has to do is add all of the expenses like 641 plus the Airbnb costs and then divide that by 4, right? And to do that, they have to write code to do it. And previously, as a developer, we had to like write each of that code. But now the AI agent immediately does that without us having to write anything. So that one was pretty mind-blowing. And the second one is knowledge retrieval. This one is sort of what we've seen in my previous videos when I was building a customer chatbot. And in order to do that, I had to first upload a PDF file or a text file, let the AI agent read through it, and then like generate a prompt that makes the AI know that you have to, there's going to be question and answering between this document. But now, in just a few lines of code, if you just upload a PDF document or a text file, it immediately just knows like what kind of information to retrieve, and then you can ask questions about that. The third one that they released is the function calls. So function calling is some of the use cases that you can do with function calling is first, you can extract structured data from unstructured data. Or you can build like custom functions that you want the AI agent to use. So those are some of the main use cases. And that one, so all of these features are really, really interesting. And they also have updated the documentation for developers to test it out ourselves. So what we're going to do in the next video is actually go through each of these steps and try to build the most recent newly released functions. But first, before doing that, I want to first explain what the logic is behind creating a assistant. So the first step is creating an assistant, literally. And if you look at the code here, they use the create function and the name, the instructions, the tools, and the model. So this is really similar to what we've been doing in LangChain. If you remember how we've built tools for the LangChain AI agent to use, the name is here, the description is here. So this is sort of like the replacement of the prompt template. So instead of having to write not 100, but a lot of lines to build the prompt itself, you can just literally replace that and put it inside the instructions variable. And for the tools, if you want the assistant to use code interpreter, then you would list it here. But if you want to use retrieval, then you put it here. If you want to use function calling, you put it here as well. So after you've created that assistant, another thing that has been newly updated is that you can create a thread. So before in LangChain, you had to create a memory variable so that the chat, the AI, the LLM would remember all the chat history. But now you just create a thread and then you add messages onto it. So it would never forget the past history, the past chat conversations that we had. If you just have the thread ID, then you can pull out what kind of messages that I've been having with the AI assistant. So after you've created a thread, you add messages to that thread, and you can see that the user input is going to be asked here. Like there's the content here and the role would be the user because this is the user inputs. And then after that, you just run the assistant and that's it. So in the next video, we're going to try to build these stuff as well. So the first one is going to be the code interpreter. We're going to try to follow each step by step how to build this in real life. And we can also like test it out in the playground here as well. The second one will be knowledge retrieval based on, so I'm going to be building a customer chatbot, customer support chatbot, see how it goes. And the third one will be function calling. And we will be using this example as well and see how we can actually build it in the back end and test it out in the front end in the playground. Yep, so anyone who's interested about the code itself, please check out the next video. And if you found this video helpful, please press like and subscribe.